Scaffs are built different, and they buzz off of that reputation as well. They love it.
You might have seen his comedy sketches on Instagram and TikTok, and some clips from his podcast as well. And if you're lucky, you've caught him on stage. Josh James, hello mate, welcome to Fix Radio.
How you doing, brother? You all right?
I'm good. First of all, right, every time we get someone in, I ask them their initial thoughts of this studio.
Yeah.
Talk me through what you're seeing. Is this kind of similar to what you've been to before?
I had my kitchen done about a year ago, and it smells like that. You know, like people chopping up, and it smells a bit like B&Q in here.
Like B&Q.
So it fits, mate. It fits definitely, and it makes a difference. You go in so many different studios, you know, but this is a bit different, which I like.
Good. Right, so the tour. Let me talk to you about the tour, right? So ultimately you had a set of dates, they sold out, you've added on more dates. What's tour life like? Like, you're a busy guy. From me, as an outsider, I'm not in the business. I'm just thinking you're just on tour 24/7.
Yeah.
Making jokes, going to bed at 2 a.m, eating Mackies, and then back on tour again. What is that tour life? Or, describe the Doing All Right tour.
I think when you hear tour, you think of like rock stars, you know, you're in like a tour bus and there's groupies and there's all the rest of it. But
Yeah.
It's not like that with us, to be honest.
No groupies?
No groupies. No, I've got a missus, so it's pretty much just me, my support act, and then my dad who drives us about, really.
Oh, so your dad's part of the crew?
Yeah, dad's part of the crew, so he drives us about. And Louis McLean, who I do a lot of the sketches with, you might recognise him, the guy. So yeah, it is fun. It is good, but he goes to all these different places and you don't really get to see them. And, well, I mean, there's not much to see. Oh, they're not always the most glamorous. You said earlier, you're from Gravesend.
That's right.
Done Gravesend on the tour, which I love, by the way.
Yeah.
But it's no Paris.
Well, there's two things there. You could have done the big B&M. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Or if you go right down the bottom of the town, there's a statue of Pocahontas.
Right, is there?
Yeah. Apparently, she.
I went to your top restaurant in Gravesend.
Go on.
McDonald's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's lovely.
It's a bit 50-50. You mentioned your dad driving you about, and that's wicked because you've not popped up out of nowhere. You've been doing this for years. Has he always been that, like, a key support figure in your comedy role? Because ultimately, growing up, I'm Turkish, right? So growing up in my household, if I said to my dad, I want to be a comedian, I want to tell jokes for a living, it'd be like, no, you're becoming a doctor. You're going to do this. You're going to open a kebab shop. Like, tell me about the relationship with family in your job.
Yeah, it wasn't always the easiest thing. I mean, my dad's just sort of typical old school bloke, really. He's just, when I left my job I was working in the city at the time, and I was like, I want to go and work in entertainment, be a comedian or whatever. I just couldn't get his head around it because obviously it's not really like a proper job, is it? Really,
it's not.
We worked really hard, but the idea for him, I mean, even he had very specific things in his mind. I sort of what he wanted me to do. Actually, funnily enough, when I was 16, I ran past him. I said to him, "Oh, Dad, what about?" Because I weren't very good at school, and all the boys that I used to sort of muck about with, weren't great. They was like, we don't really care. We'll get a GCSEs because we've got a trade lined up, whatever. I said, well, Dad, how about I go do a trade? And he was like, no, you're not doing that.
Really?
Not because my granddad was a bricklayer.
Yeah.
A builder, sort of bricklayer. But he always, he was sort of always in and out of work. He didn't really ever start up his own thing. So they struggled growing up. Do you know what I mean?
They worked really hard and they still struggled. They
just worked really hard, but they still struggled, So he was always like, trade. No, I don't want you doing that. So it's very much when I come to him about 5-6 years later.
And that's not like a nasty thing. That's not because it's like a bad thing to do. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a bricklayer, but it's the fact that it's hard work and you want to do better for your kids. I understand that.
All my mates that I went to school with that went on to get a trade, they're doing so well for themselves. Actually, I think going to get a trade, I think, is one of the best things you can do because you've always got that under your belt. If you can get into the property game, then fantastic. The trouble is my granddad found it difficult, so my dad just saw that and then he was like, no, I don't want you to do something along that line.
No, and you know what? That's like a dad's instinct. That's what they do. Talking of getting a trade under your belt, now, we had Dizzy Rascal on this show a couple of weeks ago, right? It was a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, he said he'd done a plastering course. Now, do you ever think, right, okay, look, you are busy, you're on tour, would you ever consider doing a trade or, do you think about it? Like, you got Dizzy the plasterer, Josh, I don't know, I'm getting plumber energy.
For you, plumber.
Good with the pipes.
My best mate's a plumber.
Yeah,
funnily enough. I don't think he'd have me working for him, no.
Really?
In all honesty, no.
Why is that, though? Why is that?
actually, funny enough, when he done my bathroom,
Yeah.
and when he come round to make a point,
Yeah.
because him and his dad are always going, "You last 2 seconds on the building site and all that," and I'm like, "No, I could, but they just think I'm some, fairy or whatever. So I helped them, like, done all the labouring for them, basically. If they've needed things carried to the skip, I'm doing that wherever I can. I put in a bit of a shift, even though I was paying them to do it. So I think if I was to do a trade, I always thought maybe an electrician would be my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. But
Don't like to get my hands dirty.
True. Here we go with the comments. No, but comedy. When did it really hit you that okay? And that, I'm saying this like thinking out loud. I'm funny. I'm good at what I do. This is it. I've got to go down this soul route. Tell me about that moment. It kind of switched in your head to be like, I'm ditching the finance job. I'm probably not going to get into the trade. Comedy and entertainment is my thing. When did that hit you?
It's probably just when I started getting busier, in all honesty. You get a bit better at it. When you first start, you're not all that good. And it's one of those things where it's hard. Because when you're not that good up on stage, it's like people let you know about it. It's just it's really hard when you first start. Really hard. But if you've got the resilience to get through that, then you can actually start, you start getting a bit good. And also I always found that there weren't loads of people like me doing the stand-up.
Well, that's what I was going to say. This is literally what I was going to say. You are in this, what I think is a great position where instantly, like if you tune into Fixed Radio and you're listening now, you know who you are. Whether that is from the voice alone, doing the sketches on Instagram. As so many times on Instagram.
As people remind me on TikTok and Instagram all the time, I sound like Jay from The In-Betweeners. That's all I get. Yeah,
a little bit.
Close your eyes and it's Jay from The In-Betweeners.
A little bit. I do get it. But no, you are right. There's not many people. And, you're from Essex, I'm from Gravesend. There's only a bridge between us. You're kind of my friendship group, the people that I spoke with growing up. Why do you think that is, though? Because for me at the moment, I'm not here to dig anyone out, but you get like really posh comedians. We don't have anyone sounding like you, which is great for you. But is there a reason why, or are you the only funny one in Essex?
I'm probably the least funniest person in Essex, to be honest. I just talk about them. I just bring them to life on stage. I think it is. Listen, it's a bit of a class thing. At the end of the day, like the idea for me, for me to say to my dad, right, who's brought up in a council estate, Dad, I want to work in the arts, entertainment. It's just mind blowing for him because it's like that's
like Billy Elliot all over again.
It's just not real. I'm not going to start dancing, but it's almost like it's very hard for them to comprehend. I think as well, different sort of people from different backgrounds, it's more encouraged, to maybe be artistic or do something a bit different.
Yeah.
Whereas sort of you're probably similar background to me. It's like, listen, you go school and as soon as you leave school, you better get a job. You're not sitting about, and make sure that's a good job that you can provide your family for. There's none of this like swanning about, trying to start in a band or anything like that. It's just like, no, none of that.
Yeah.
You get down and you work because that's what you got to do, So I think that's why, but it's backgrounds really.
Yeah, definitely. But also, I do think you're in a fantastic position because you are connecting with an audience that, like I said, I've reached out to you so many times on Instagram. I've shared all of your stuff, and you must have thought, who is this kid? What is he doing? Sharing 10 of my stories, all your sketches. Talking of sketches, that's one of the reasons why I found you on Instagram, and I've been trying to get you on here for a while. The sketch content. We're in a day and age where video is king, right? When did the sketches take off? Like, was it just this one sketch you did that blew up, or have you done like 50 in the locker and all of a sudden someone shares it and now you've got 1 million views or whatever? Tell me about the process of these sketches, because half the audience will know you from the comedy, and the other half have probably seen you on TikTok or Instagram or put in a WhatsApp group. Tell me about the sketches. Yeah,
well, actually, funnily enough, in this day and age, I reckon people probably more likely see me because they've seen one of my sketches.
Yeah.
Whereas I've only been doing the sketches for about 4 or 5 years, whereas I've been a stand-up comedian for 10 years. But because that's just the way of the world now, social media, But I started off doing them just like in my room, to be honest. The first one that I can remember that really was popular when I was doing I'd done like stereotypical impressions of like London football fans.
Yeah.
And that was the one that seemed to blow up. I remember being in a news agent and he's come up to me. He was like, "You're that bloke, you're that bloke." And I'm like, "What? Who am I?" I'm thinking he's going to stick it on me, That's why as soon as someone's coming towards me, even thinking now, if they come up to me, I think, oh, what have I done wrong here? You know, I don't think they're coming. I don't think they're coming up to me going, oh, you're the comedian, whatever. So I was like, okay. Started doing them in my room, but I never really liked that. It didn't really seem like proper to me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, I'm 34 now. I don't necessarily want to be making sketches in my bedroom. I just, anyone that does that, that's no criticism in it.
Yeah.
If you can get your head around that. For me, my personal, like, I just couldn't do it. I wanted to do something a little bit met a geezer called Pete, who started proper videographer. I could film sketches, had a good eye for it. You know, I'd write the script and then he'd go, right, this is how we're going to do it. So it's sort of a double team with him, really.
Yeah.
And just went from there. Obviously, do a lot of the football ones, which seem to be popular, especially amongst blokes that probably listen to this station. But yeah, they're all sort of, really, all my sketches are really takes on things from my sort of world. So, you know, you've got, you know, football fans. You've also got a character called the East End Hipster, where I talk about, you know, these real sort of posh people that move into East London and sort of think, you know, think it's really cool and all that sort of stuff. And just different scenarios from my sort of world, really. And that's it.
And you mentioned, you know, you didn't want to do the bedroom stuff, and I understand that. No, I get that to a point for me. Like, you know, I was in a similar situation where I'm like, I've got to do more with this radio, and I've got to do that,
just to try and spice a bit more,
just to make it like, you know, a bit more polished, right? But for you, future-wise, you know, what's the plans? You know, is it going to be still on the comedy circuit, or do you want like a structured show, or, you know, where do you want to take these sketches to the next level? Because whenever I say the word sketch, now this might show my age, but I'm thinking of like sketches on the telly. You've got, you know, Harry Enfield type
Fire show, Catherine Tate show.
So we don't have much of that anymore.
Well, a lot of it over the last few years, a lot of these sketches, and this is why you don't so much get sketch shows on TV now, is because a lot of production companies and TV channels, they see sketch shows as now like an online format.
Yeah.
You know, because you've got your YouTubes and stuff like this. So it's very hard to get a sketch show over the line now, whereas really growing up, we were spoilt with choice with some amazing sketch shows. The Fast Show, you know, Paul Whitehouse, Harry Enfield, you know, Catherine Tate. This is how people made their name. But I would love to do a sketch show on TV. Of course I would, or on a proper platform. But I just know it may be difficult, you know. Yeah. But I'd love to write a sitcom one day. You know, I've got a couple of ideas for those sort of things. But again, it's not going to be anything that you really out there. I'll write about stuff which is very much from my life, from my world. If you're from Essex or a Kent, you know, places like this, then you'll know the sort of world that I'm sort of trying to bring to life. And that's what I try and do in all my sketches, really.
And you mentioned just a few comedians there, and, you know, a few people that kind of made their voice and name on these type of shows. Is there someone you used to listen to or, you know, watch on the telly or stand up that kind of really got you into comedy? Like for me, I used to love a bit of Lee Evans back in the day. Like who was your guy? Like who was or girl that really got you into really loving a bit of comedy?
Yeah, I mean, I've already named a couple of them. Paul Whitehouse, in terms of the sketch comedy.
Yeah.
He's probably my idol in terms of that, you know. Catherine Tate, again, I mean, her character of the Nan.
Brilliant. It's just like, it's my Nan. It's my Nan.
But there's characters like that. You see Catherine Tate's Nan.
Yeah.
It's like she's really nailed a specific group of women there. Like my Nan, for example, like real old East End women, you know, that are tough. Yeah. They literally got no filter, no censor.
Yeah.
Nailed that. I love Harry Enfield's character, Loads of Money.
Yeah.
You know, it's basically, it's based off of the Essex Man. You know, someone who, I think he was a plasterer or something. He had some sort of trade, right? But that was very much, you know, epitomised at the time, the 90s sort of Essex man, the sort of working class man that then now was you know, voting Thatcher or whatever. Yeah. And they nailed it there, and it was hilarious, you know. So in terms of sketch probably. In terms of stand-up, a lot of Americans like Dave Chappelle.
Unreal Dave Chappelle.
Of course.
Unreal Dave Chappelle.
Of course, you've got to mention Mickey Flanagan.
Yes.
I think for people like us, he's the king, isn't he?
Absolutely.
You know, and I don't think anyone will be able to replicate his first. What made him blow up is his the first DVD he had, the Out tour.
Yeah.
I don't think, for people like us, I don't think there'll ever be an hour of stand-up that will be better than that. You know,
absolutely.
Like I even know as a stand-up comedian, I'm like, I watch it and I'm like, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to produce anything as good as that. But you still try, you know.
Yeah.
Give it a go.
But still on the topic of sketches, have you done any building site sketches, or do you feel like
I've done that
in the locker?
Actually, I've done one which was like, if the building game embraced diversity. And it was basically me, my mate Jen Nolan, who's a great comedian, and she was like female builder on site.
Yeah.
And I'm talking her through, you know, like stupid things, like sort of how to be a builder. Like, I'm crying in it. And she comes out and she goes, "You all right?" And you go, "No, you take the mick out of me until I stop crying." Okay. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. So yeah, I done one with that. And actually that was in my house at the time. It was like, we was having a downstairs of a house done up, and I'm like, "Oh, I've got a building site here. We can just, we should do a sketch of this, you know?"
Yeah.
I'd like to do more with that.
Does it come like that? Like, does it come that quickly, these sketches and these ideas? Like, you know, if you see something, do you have to be like, "I've got to put this down into a sketch straight away"? Like, you know, like you said, your house like a building site, like, do you have to get it done like within like a certain time frame, or do you have to sit on it for a bit and then come back to it later on? Like, are you quite impulsive?
Yeah. It's as soon as you get the idea, I often find you get the good premise, bang, I can write 3 or 4 jokes very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Just what I'd be able to do. But it's finding those ideas of like, what's the angle? Okay, building is largely male dominated. Well, wouldn't it be funny if like, you know, they embrace stuff.
Yeah.
You know, if they had a big, you know, like a lot of these big corporate companies now, it's all about diversity.
Absolutely.
And I was like, wouldn't it be funny if that sort of happened in the building game? So it's stuff like that. So as soon as I get the premise, then I can write the jokes pretty quickly. But yeah, I could be walking down the road, something click in my head, or I see something, I write it down on my phone. I think, right, when I get home, I'm going to hash that out. And some take a long time.
Yeah.
Some ideas I have in my phone for 6 months, and then on the 7th month, it becomes a sketch.
Yeah.
Some ideas I write in 5 minutes. And it's often, though, the ideas that are a little bit more impulsive, that are written in 10 to 20 minutes, that do the bigger numbers.
Yeah.
Strangely.
Do you think, or has this ever happened to you? Has anyone called you out before? Like, obviously, you know, you probably take a lot of, you know, I'm trying to think of the words, inspiration from some certain characters you meet along the way. Like you said, there's some funny people in Essex, you talk about them. Has anyone come up to you and be like, very similar to what I told you? Yeah. You know, that character you did is very similar to X, Y, Z.
Yeah, funnily enough, I do a podcast. It's called That Just James.
Yeah.
Hope you don't mind the plug.
No, of course, mate.
And I was talking about, I go into this coffee shop and I see mums all the time, because during the day.
Is it the Adenola?
Adenola one. They love Adenola with the New Balance trainers.
They do love it.
And the leggings.
Yeah.
Right? And this lady come up to me. She was like, "Excuse me, can I just ask, are you that fella?" And I'm like, yeah, that's me. Yeah. She goes, "Oh, yeah, I thought it was you. Blah, blah, blah." She goes, "What are you writing about?" And there was a group of mums over there. I was like, like no one in particular. Anyway, next week, I just had this, I kept seeing mums wearing Adenola and wearing New Balance trainers. It's like the look now.
It is, right? It is.
And I spoke about it on the podcast. It blew up. It got like millions on social media.
Yeah. Of
just a simple observation. I literally this week went back to the same coffee shop and they're in there again. She goes, "I see you've been talking about us. And I'm like, we weren't so much about you. It's just like a general, but I'm thinking, yeah, it was.
It's definitely about you. Definitely about you, Shirley.
I could tell they were saying it with a little bit of the
Yeah, of course.
So, but
didn't the owner follow you on social media?
He did follow me.
Did you get any free stuff?
No, free
rubbish.
I was gutted.
No,
because my missus literally any Christmas birthday, she's like, "Can I get some Adenola bits?" You know.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, I messaged him like a real beggy message as well. I was
like, "No, you didn't,
mate."
Big fan of the brand.
Yeah, I was. Honestly, it was shameless. I went to him, "All right, mate. Congratulations on all your success." And he was like, "Cheers, mate." And I'm waiting there like, "Yeah, come on in, send me
my address is this.
Yeah. I was like,
size this.
Yeah, my missus is a medium. She want to send some bits over, but never happened.
You mentioned your podcast. Yeah. Now, that's with White Boy, Chris White.
Chris White.
How did that come together? Because every time, you know, it pops up. It's on Patreon now as well. So you can go, is it subscribe or go follow us on there?
Yeah.
How did that come up? Because every week you're talking about a topic that is just I feel like you're talking to me. You know, I feel like with that, like the Adenola stuff, I feel like you're talking to my missus and the people in my coffee shops. How did you come up with? Well, no. First question: how did that happen? How did you get together doing that?
So I've been mates with so Chris White. His nickname's White Boy.
White Boy.
We've all got me and my mates. We've all got mad nicknames, like just nicknames for each other. Just seems to be how it is.
Absolutely same.
And we've always been pally since about 1920. But a few years ago, actually, we sort of was in the same situation where we stopped drinking, basically, and both got into recovery, and we've become really close through that, you know, just because we're, you know, want to do the same things now, you know, and our relationship really grew from there. And, you know, he's one of my best friends now. He was always one of my mates, but, you know, when you just get close with someone. And I was doing this podcast and I'm like, mate, we have some funny chats. I was like, do you want to come in and have, like, you know, come on a couple of episodes? And anyway, like over a year and a half later, he's still there.
He's still there.
He's still there. And it's not, you know, it's called That Josh James Show, but really it should be called the Jamesy and White Boy Show.
Yeah.
Because it's both of us, you know.
Yeah.
Like he's as important to it as I am, you know. And we talk about everyday things. Really, we often before the show, we sit down and we go, well, right, what are people like us talking about? What are we talking about with our mates? What are we talking about with our missus?
Yeah.
Talk about that, you know. It's not, you know, look, it's not, there's lots of podcasts out there where you're going out and you're going to learn great things about the world and politics, maybe in history. You probably, if you listen to our podcast, you're going to lose a couple of brain cells. But you're going to hear two blokes who you think, oh yeah, they're a bit of me, you know. And we talk, I mean, the trades come up a lot actually, because we talk about a lot of our other mates, and Chris he's a tiler. So we often every couple of episodes, we always sort of go on to the hour's work and he tells me a bit about the problems, you know, and so there's often a lot of that chat.
And the thing is, it's like, it's so relatable. It's so relatable. It's, you know, with other podcasts and stuff, you know, is it because you're talking about things you're interested in that makes it so relatable? Like, are you, because it doesn't seem like you're talking about stuff that people want to hear. It's not like, oh, I want to talk about this celebrity doing this, I want to talk about celebrity doing that. You're talking about like personal stuff. You can genuinely hear it in the podcast. Is that what you think's missing in a lot of these podcasts nowadays?
To be honest, mate, I don't listen to a lot of other podcasts, and we're just ourselves on there. You know, going back to what we originally spoke about of our world, is there are not a lot of people like us that necessarily gravitate towards doing a stand-up comedy, and like that is a benefit, because it's like I don't see. You know, like a lot of comedians, I know, not that I listen so much to their podcast, but I just know ours would be different because we come from just a different world.
Absolutely.
That where we're not as caught up in things that they're caught up in, and things that are important to us, they'll be like, "What are you talking about that for?" You know, it's because we're just from different worlds.
Gotcha.
So
we can't get you into Fix without talking a bit about the trade. I've got 3 quick fire questions aimed at the trade, and you can be as brutal or you can be as soft as you want.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you 4 questions. Sorry. Question number 1, Josh James. Who do you think is the hardest tradie you wouldn't want to get into a fight with?
It's got to be Scaff.
Scaffs, yeah.
It's got to be.
Why though?
They just are. They're in the elements, aren't they? They've always got holes in their clothes.
Yeah.
You know, they're always carrying weapons with them.
Yes.
I mean, which they use them as weapons, but it looks like they're carrying weapons. Nah, scaffs are built different.
Literally.
And they buzz off of that reputation as well. They love it. You meet a scaff.
Cool, you look like you could have a tear up.
So you meet a scaff and it's the first thing they told you. I'm a scaff, mate.
Yeah.
You know, they love it. And I wouldn't want to have it with a scaffolder. No way.
Question number 2. Most boring tradie to be stuck in a Friday traffic jam with?
Most boring?
Most boring. Who do you not want to sit there in a car? Who do you pretend to fall asleep in the car with, in the van with?
Ask a question. I'm gonna get the easy option. I've got to be honest, because I've got mates of all different trades.
Who's your most boring mate then?
Not one of them's boring. Not one of them's boring.
Okay, I got you.
All my boring mates are the ones that work in the city.
Okay.
You know, and their corporate persona has become themselves. All my mates that work in the trades, they are the same person that they've always been.
Yeah.
And they're not changing for no one, you know. So I can't.
Good swerve.
I couldn't answer that.
Good swerve.
Actually.
We'll do number 3. Funniest tradie you'd like to be on site with? So, like, think about it. You're on site. It's raining. It's cold. It's wet. Who's gonna be the one to roll off jokes?
I I think it's got to be the Chippies.
Really?
Yeah. My two good mates are two of the funniest people I've met. They're both carpenters. One of them, he is such a character. I mean, he's a carpenter.
Yeah.
But when he's talking to the ladies, he's a property developer.
Oh, love it.
He's like, oh, baby, I'm a property developer. And you're like, you sure? You do my wardrobes the other day.
With wood, babe. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah, all that, yeah.
Look, Josh, thank you so much for coming in. Honestly, give us a rundown of the tour. We know it's sold out. We know there's got some more tour dates going. Give us as much information. Tell us where to buy it. Over to you, Josh.
Yeah, so you can follow me on socials at Josh Jamesy on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. On Facebook, it's at Josh James Comedy. If you want to come and watch me on the tour, just go to joshjamesy.com. And the first leg of the tour is sold out, but we're going all up to the north and the Midlands in the second leg, which starts in October. And we're also doing the Hackney Empire on the 7th of November, which is almost sold out. So that is really going to be a great show. So I'd love to see you at any of them. And hope to see you there.
Josh, thank you so much for coming.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having us.
Cheers.